Nigeria's sovereignty, protect lives and property, and uphold national security. I will also assess the current threat environment, interagency collaboration, and the resilience and professionalism of troops in the face of complex and asymmetric threats, including terrorism, insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, oil theft, and other forms of criminality. As the armed forces continue to adapt to emerging security realities, this review serves to inform strategic decision-making, enhance operational effectiveness, and set clear priorities for the coming year. Our focus, as always, gentlemen, is to ensure the safety of both our citizens and our personnel, while maintaining our duty to inform the public about the efforts and the successes guiding our actions. The Defense Headquarters is aware of the public interest in the ongoing military operations, and we are committed to providing you with timely and accurate information about our activities across all theaters. Our forces are currently engaged in both kinetic and non-kinetic operations in order to combat specific threats, securing our citizens, and provide a secure environment for economic activities to thrive. Within the year 2025, troops, in conjunction with other security stakeholders, neutralized several top terrorist commanders, their lieutenants, and their foot soldiers. Some of those neutralized include Aminu Kanawa, Dan Bokolo, Bello Buba, Dan Ina, Halilu Sabubu, Abu Dan Shehu Jabi. Others are Dogo Bashiru Yelo, Abba Alai, also known as Amiru Khalid of Alafa, Amir Abu Fatima, One Kingpin Auta, Abdul Jamilu, Mala Jinad, or Mala Jida, Malam Umar, Abu Yazid, Kabiru Bebe, Me Dada, and Nwachi Eze, also known as Ono. Others include notorious bandits with the pseudonym Doso, Suleiman, Jagaban, Salisu, Mewada, Talha, and Danja. Troops also arrested 4,375 suspects and received 1,616 surrendered terrorists and their families, while 2,336 kidnapped hostages were successfully rescued. Troops of Operation Delta Safe also thwarted huge amounts of oil theft in order to boost Nigeria's oil production. During this brief, I will provide an overview of the activities conducted by the 6 Defense Headquarters Joint Task Forces. Let me now look at all the operational activities from the 6 theaters being conducted by the Defense Headquarters. I will start with Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai. The Operation Hadinkai covers the 3 states of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. The security situation in the area remains relatively stable, with the primary security challenge posed by Boko Haram terrorists and the Islamic State of West Africa, otherwise known subsequently as ISWAP. Although these terrorist groups have been significantly degraded through joint operations by the military and other security agencies, they continue to conduct remote operations, isolated attacks on civilians and military targets, and plant improvised explosive devices to hinder troops' movements. Nonetheless, the military remains vigilant and will continue to refine its tactics, techniques, and procedures to effectively counter these threats. During the year, troops' operational prowess also led to the neutralization of top terrorist commanders, sectional and sub-lieutenants commanders, as well as scores of their foot soldiers, some of whom I had earlier mentioned in my introductory paragraph. Now, we also arrested 1,323 suspects alongside their collaborators, gun runners, sympathizers, and 1,616 terrorists surrendered to troops in the Operation Hadinkai area, while 498 kidnapped hostages were rescued. Troops also recovered various arms, ammunition, vehicles, equipment, and a cumulative sum of 32 million naira in cash. Furthermore, several terrorist camps and hibernation areas were destroyed. These actions significantly degraded the terrorist fighting capabilities, compelling them to surrender in large numbers and denying them freedom of action. Overall, troops' efforts in the Northeast have revitalized commercial and agricultural activities, facilitated the return of local authorities, and enabled internally displaced persons to resettle in their respective communities. Let me look at Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Fansanyama. This operation covers the states of Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Niger, Sokoto, and Zamfara, which is the northwest zone of Nigeria. The threats from that area include the Lakurawa terrorist group, Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists, armed banditry, kidnapping, and imposition of illegal levies on the local population by these groups. The terrorists have also exploited the porosity of the northern borders and the remoteness of the northwest flashpoints to conduct their operations. However, through a deep understanding of the terrorist modus operandi, troops implemented effective preventive measures to deter attacks on civilians and military formations in the region. Additionally, modern warfare equipment and intelligence aids, including mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles and other high-caliber weapons, have been integrated into our operations to enhance troops' combat effectiveness. Accordingly, the operational successes recorded during the year indicate that scores of terrorists were neutralized in action. In fact, 669 suspects were arrested and 966 kidnapping hostages were released. Troops also intercepted and recovered various arms, ammunition, equipment, and large sums of money intended for ransom payments, weapon purchases, and other illicit activities. In furtherance of the counter-banditry efforts in the Northwest, a reinvigorated partnership between the federal government of Nigeria and the United States precision strike operations were successfully executed against two Islamic State terrorist enclaves in the Baoni Forest axis of Tangaza local government area, Sokoto State. Intelligence reports had confirmed these sites as key assembly and staging points for foreign ISIS operatives infiltrating from the Sahel region, working alongside local affiliates to orchestrate large-scale attacks within Nigeria. DHQ, or the Defense Headquarters, reaffirms its steadfast commitment to combating and eradicating terrorist threats, especially from transnational networks aiming to compromise national sovereignty and security. This emphasizes the armed forces of Nigeria's alignment with strategic partners and allies to promote border security, regional stability, and lasting peace. Nigerians are assured of the armed forces' firm grip on the national security framework with a pledge to safeguard lives and property, while citizens are encouraged to stay calm, vigilant, and supportive as decisive measures persist against all terrorist entities. Overall, with the deployment of additional manpower and equipment in the Northwest, troops have gained momentum over terrorist flashpoints, compelling them to either relocate to other parts of the country or surrender to troops out of fear of facing a superior fighting force. Now to the Joint Task Force North Central. In the North Central, you are aware we have two operations, Enduring Peace and Operation Wellstroke, which covers Operation Enduring Peace covers Bauchi and Plateau States, and parts of Kaduna, while Wellstroke is in Benue, other outskirts of the federal capital, Kogi, Kwara, Nasarawa, and parts of Niger, Taraba. The North Central Zone has faced several security threats, with the most prominent being armed banditry and terrorism characterized by extremism, cattle rustling, and kidnapping. Notably, there were evident footprints of terrorist activities in the zone, particularly in Kogi, Niger, and Taraba states, and more recently in Kwara State. Additionally, farmer-settlers clashes remained prevalent in Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Nasarawa, and Plateau states. The region also experienced cases of armed proliferation, which fueled other criminal activities due to the ease of access to these arms, stemming from the preponderance of illegal arms fabrication factories in Kaduna, Kogi, and Plateau states. Troops made several arrests of arms merchants operating primarily in Benue, Kogi, Nasarawa, Plateau, and Taraba states, and successfully recovered arms and ammunition intended for supply to armed groups in their enclaves across the zone. Nevertheless, troops of Operation Enduring Peace and Operation Wellstroke continue to dominate the zone with the appropriate posture to defeat these threats. Overall, during the course of the year, troops of Operation Enduring Peace neutralized scores of terrorists and extremists, arrested 822 suspects, and rescued 217 kidnapped victims in the region. Troops also recovered assorted arms and ammunition. Likewise, in Operation Wellstroke, troops neutralized scores of extremists, arrested 459 suspects, and rescued 538 kidnapped. Also foiled oil thefts valued at 8,918,647,206 naira, representing 16,623,542 liters of crude oil and 1,255,674 liters of automated gas oil, 407,734 liters of diesel, and 1,508,823 liters of premium motor spirit. Troops also destroyed 503 illegal refining sites while recovering assorted weapons and ammunition. Now to the Southeast Operation Udoka. As you know, the Southeast Operation Udoka covers the states of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, Imo. The security threat prevalent in the region remains the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, known as IPOB, subsequently, and its Eastern Security Network. Crimes and other criminal activities have significantly decreased during the year following troops' intensified operations across the southeastern states, as well as the recent court rulings against their leader, Simon Ekpa, who was jailed by the government of the Republic of Finland, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Abuja. These developments have substantially degraded the group's capabilities. Furthermore, the extremists preyed on lightly manned checkpoints and outposts, killing security personnel to cut away their weapons for use in terror activities. It was also discovered that they primed and planted locally fabricated improvised explosive devices around troops' locations to inflict casualties on own forces while fortifying their camps and enclaves with these improvised explosive devices to deter troops' entry. However, troops uncovered the group's strategies, leading to the deployment of additional manpower, military platforms, and combat equipment in the area. Accordingly, troops' operations have largely curtailed the activities of the group through a series of intelligence-based operations aimed at dislocating their influential organizers and fighters. This approach by the armed forces forced the group to relocate to the hinterlands to evade the troops' onslaught. During the year, troops of Operation Udoka neutralized scores of terrorists, arrested 324 suspects, and rescued over 64 kidnapped persons. Weapons and ammunition were also recovered from them. In conclusion, the Defense Headquarters is acutely aware of terrorist factions who are currently relocating to communities in response to military pressure carried out on terrorist locations. The purported influx of armed headers into certain communities is also being viewed seriously, and operational planning is going on to curtail their activities. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets are actively monitoring terrorist movements across various operational theaters. Several movements have also been identified and are presently being tracked. Communities are all to maintain their composure, to remain vigilant, and cooperate with security agencies. Citizens are also encouraged to promptly report any suspicious movements or activities to the nearest security agencies' formations. The Armed Forces of Nigeria, in collaboration with security agencies, have also intensified proactive measures to thwart any attempts by fleeing terrorists to infiltrate or destabilize any community. The Defense Headquarters remains steadfast in its commitment to safeguarding the lives and upholding national security. Troops of the armed forces and other security stakeholders remain committed to denying terrorists, insurgents, bandits, kidnappers, and other criminal elements freedom of action in the country. The successes recorded within the year in all ongoing operations is a testament to the determination and resilience of our troops who continue to work tirelessly to secure our nation. The Defense Headquarters wants to also use this opportunity to commend the bravery and professionalism of the troops involved in all operations and assures Nigerians of its continuous efforts to ensure the safety and security of the citizens. Despite the risks, hardships, and time spent away from families, troops have remained steadfast in the resolve to protect lives, property, and the sovereignty of our country. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, has personally asked me to assure personnel of the armed forces that their welfare remains a top priority as we enter the new year. May they receive renewed strength, peace, and hope. May it also be a reminder that their service is valued, their sacrifices are recognized, and their efforts will never be in vain. Let me assure all that in this coming year, 2026, the armed forces and other security stakeholders will redouble efforts in the fight against terrorism and other sundry crimes. In line with the Armed Forces Remembrance activities, the Chief of Defense Staff also, on behalf of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, salutes the sacrifices of our veterans. We reach out to them and want to let them know that they are highly appreciated. Another message personally from the Chief of Defense Staff is to call on the citizenry to partner with us in the fight against insecurity by providing information on any activities, any untoward activities that they see. Our goal, our mandate, is to provide a safe and secure environment for Nigeria. And the Chief of Defense Staff asked me personally to convey that we need the cooperation of the public to do this. Please convey. On behalf of the CDS, I wish our gallant troops, defense correspondents, those of you here, and your lovely families a prosperous, peaceful New Year. Thank you for your attention. God bless the Armed Forces of Nigeria. God bless.